And we are back in another beautiful segment right here on Unity Live Radio. And we have with us a very special person. As you can see, he's right here next to me. And of course, he was born in New York. Yes, he is indeed a book author, a priest, and an educator. He has been since 1988 the founder of the Diocese of Insernia and Vernafro, Italy. Yes, he is indeed also the president and founder of the association Archbishop Ettore di Filippo. He's here with us as a book author. And of course, let's see what else. So we welcome Mr. Francis V. Tiso right here with us. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine today, Tracey.
I am excited to have you. I am flattered and even honored at the same time because of all the accomplishments, sir, that you have been doing. I've had my fair share of knowing you, and I've seen the beautiful work that you're doing here in Italy. Can you tell us a little bit more about who Mr. Tiso is?
Okay, here we are in this house, which is our house of hospitality, which we created in order to offer to migrants who are in an emergency situation, or also other people who are in difficulty, some kind of hospitality. And it would be a little nicer hospitality than they might get in other centers of welcome here in Italy, where it's more, a lot of people jam together and all that. No, this is a little bit more relaxed and more comfortable, and to help people to try to integrate into Italian life.
And this was all your idea. You founded the association, and it was your, beautiful concept in getting these boys in and helping them. And how has it been in support to Italy on a scale of 1 to 10? How has it been, a support to Italy?
My dream here was, even the name of our association. Yes. Archbishop Ettore di Filippo, yes, whose picture is downstairs at the entryway. Wow. He was a very, very great man who worked at the United Nations for 17 years and then was in our area here in the Molise for another 20 years until he passed away. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the really great men who worked mainly to keep elderly people in their communities, active in their communities, integrated in their communities. In other words, to bring people together and to bring communities together. And he did this all over the world. So he's our inspiration. And so here, what we do is we welcome everyone, and as a brother or sister, and we share together, holidays and meals and work experiences. This afternoon, we were just working with some olive leaves to prepare an extract of olive leaves for our medicinal extracts that we use. So there's always something going on, gardening or a special training program. And what we wanted to do, our dream was to bring together Italian people and our migrant community, because we saw a convergence of interests, concerns about health, concerns about culture, concerns about work. All right, so we were trying to do all that because a lot of people wanted to divide the communities, but we saw a convergence of interests in all these areas. Yes. And so people do come here for workshops from all over Europe, really.
Wow, so it has been more than a support, it has been a father institute for these guys. And you've seen guys, as he mentioned, he has been, doing some olive project. I've had my fair share of Mr. Francis in December, and it was a beautiful Christmas. He brought all these guys together, they fellowship like a family, and everyone got their personal gift. But I cannot go there.
That was a lot of fun. Actually.
That was a lot of fun. Let me ask Mr. Tiso, you have also written a few books. And these books have been based on Christianity and other religion. But can you share a little bit about your life as an author? How has your journey been, and what books have you really written?
It's a wonderful question, because the first book that I actually published was a very small book called A Young Person's Guide to Catholic Signs and Symbols. Okay. And it was published by Doubleday way back in, I think, 1982.
Wow.
All right, so, but that little book, which had drawings and descriptions, was my very first attempt And to this day, there are people who buy it on Amazon. It still exists. It's out there somewhere.
It's still there.
So, it's that little book, but it helped a lot of people understand works of art by seeing the different symbols that you encounter in a work of art.
Yes.
Then, during the 90s, here in the Molise, with some of my students, we worked on editing a number of books, and one of them was on Catholic monastic organizations in dialogue with the world of India.
Wow.
Okay, so that was a wonderful book, and that was a collection of papers, and we revised all the papers, and we put them into a beautiful format, and that was published by a publishing house in Bangalore in India.
Wow.
So
this man is here in Italy and he's spreading the love and the tribute over there in India. This is beautiful, Mr. Tiso. All right. Now, one last question. Your books, you've said that it's on Amazon. What's the cost for these books if persons want to purchase them?
Okay, we have, now this is an interesting edition. This is the very first hardcover edition of this book, Liberation in One Lifetime. And it covers the ground that goes back to my research in the 1980s when I was doing my doctoral dissertation at Columbia University in New York. So it tells the story of the earliest biographies of this very, very beloved saint of Tibet named Milarepa, who was a poet and who really contributed to the culture of the Himalayan region. And so I did my doctoral work on that, but this is much more research that was done subsequent to the PhD.
Okay.
And so that's, I call that volume number one.
Number one.
Okay, and it was published very kindly in the paperback edition by North Atlantic Books in 2014. And I've been noticing that lately it's been taking off. At first it didn't sell too well. I mean, the hardcover sold very well, but the paperback slowly, but now it's picking up. I'm very excited about that. And then the book that has had the greatest success is Rainbow Body and Resurrection, all right, which is spiritual attainment, the dissolution of the material body and the case of Khenpo Ache. And so this particular book, which has really excited a lot of attention on the web, is a story about my research in Eastern Tibet in 1999, 2000, up to 2003, different journeys to interview people who were present for the life and death of this remarkable individual, a very learned and very, very pious and very compassionate monk named Khenpo Ache, who was from this little tiny village. And yet from that little tiny village, he went around and did as much good as he could to human beings and even to animals. And they say that just meeting him, bandits would give up their bad ways, animals would come to be fed by him. He was a beautiful person. And but when he died, there were many miraculous signs that appeared. And so we went to interview people to see, well, what was that like? What did it feel like? What did you see when that happened? And they told us the story, some with great enthusiasm, some of his students and disciples. And there were people of all kinds there, from extremely learned monks to very simple people of the village, but they all loved him very much. And during the times in which there was a persecution of religion in that part of the world, although he kept a low profile, he stayed in touch with all kinds of people, encouraging them, supporting them, teaching them in secret. So nothing would stop this guy.
Wow, and he was so impacted that even the animals could relate. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your beautiful work. I believe that if persons need to get these books, they can go on Amazon, as mentioned. Yeah, I believe Mr. Tiso is also on Facebook. Mr. Tiso, is there any...
You just have to go Francis
Tiso
and on Amazon, and these books will come up.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge, sir, before we go for this beautiful journey that you have been on?
Sure. The man, aside from Ettore di Filippo, the great Bishop of Isernia, who is our model and example, we also really need to thank a wonderful Austrian Benedictine monk named Brother David Steindelrast. It
Okay.
was he who encouraged me to undertake this research, and he has been my spiritual guide since 1969.
Wow. This man has been on the journey forever. Thank you so much, Mr. Tiso. It was a pleasure having you with us on the Lady Tracey Show. Don't forget, guys, if you would like to donate to his association for the support of the migrants here in Italy, contact him, email us, and we will get all the information that is needed. Thank you for being with us, sir. It was a pleasure having you, and we're looking forward to hear some more of you in the coming future.
Thank you so much, Tracey. It's a privilege.
All right.
Thank you.